Welcome to the Extraordinary Everyday Podcast, where women come to be inspired and motivated to become the best version of themselves and elevate the quality of their everyday. Now, here's your host, certified life coach, Wendy Johnson.
Hello, beautiful friends. Welcome back to the Extraordinary Everyday. I'm your host, Wendy Johnson, and today we're diving into something that so many of us struggle with: busyness. We live in a world where being busy is almost a status symbol. How often have you asked someone how they're doing and gotten the response, "Oh, I'm so busy"? Busy has taken the place of fine. And when we say it ourselves, it feels like proof that we're doing life right, that we're productive, needed, and making the most of our time. But have you ever stopped to ask, why am I so busy? And more importantly, is this busyness making me happy? Today, we'll talk about why we glorify being busy. It's like a badge of honor that we wear. What the research says about its effects of being busy, and most importantly, how to unbusy our lives in a way that feels freeing. Not like we're giving up and letting go of our goals, but like we're reclaiming something essential to us. So take a deep breath. Let go of that mental to-do list for a moment and let's get started. You know that feeling when you have a million things to do and your brain feels like the browser on your internet with all the tabs open? That's busyness. And while we often think of it as a sign of productivity, science tells us otherwise. Studies show that being in a constant state of busyness increases stress and actually reduces our ability to focus. One study from Harvard found that when our minds are constantly racing between tasks, we experience more anxiety and less overall happiness. Another study from the American Psychological Association found that people who report feeling constantly busy have higher levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, which over time can lead to feeling exhausted, irritable, and experiencing health problems. But here's the wild part. We actually like being busy. A 2010 study from the University of Chicago found that people prefer doing something over doing nothing, even if it's unnecessary, because busyness makes us feel purposeful. That's why we check emails while waiting in line or scroll social media instead of just sitting with our thoughts. But as the poet Rumi once said, being busy is a form of laziness, lazy thinking, and indiscriminate action. What if instead of glorifying your busyness, we started glorifying presence, intention, and joy? The birds have been so busy chirping this spring that you may be hearing chirping on the recording. They're outside of my office right now. And I actually woke up in the night and heard chirping. I thought birds were supposed to chirp in the early morning hours, but not in the middle of the night. I don't know what that was all about, but they were busy. Now, why do we glorify being busy? Why do we cling so tightly to the idea that being busy means we're doing life well? Part of it is cultural. We live in a productivity obsessed society that equates worth with output. Research from Harvard Business School found that people perceive those who are constantly busy as being more important and successful. There's almost a societal pressure to be busy. Like if you're not juggling 5 things at once, you must be falling behind. That's why we always see people multitasking. They're driving while texting and looking at their phones. They're on a Zoom call for work, but yet they're looking at their computer and checking their emails at the same time. But here's the truth. Being busy is not the same as being fulfilled. We can spend our whole lives rushing from one thing to the next, but if we never pause to ask ourselves what really matters, we might wake up one day and realize we've been running in circles. I know I've felt that way in the past. As Socrates famously said, beware the barrenness of a busy life. What if instead of asking, how much can I get done today? We started asking, how can I make today meaningful? Let's talk about why it's okay and necessary to not be busy. Think about the moments in your life when you felt the most at peace. Was it during a frantic, overscheduled week? Or was it in the quiet, maybe a slow morning with coffee, a walk outside, or a deep conversation with a coworker or friend? Slowing down doesn't mean you're giving up. It means choosing what actually matters over what just looks productive. Research from the University of California shows that when people take time for leisure and rest, their creativity and problem-solving abilities increase. That's why our best ideas come in the shower or on a walk, not when we're staring at a screen, forcing productivity and multitasking. And here's something important. When we're constantly busy, we can't truly connect with ourselves or others. We miss out on joy, creativity, and deep relationships. As author Brené Brown puts it, exhaustion is not a status symbol. You don't have to earn your right to rest. You already are deserving of it. All right, now let's get into how to break the habit of being busy. Here are 5 ways to unbusy your life starting today. Number 1, audit your schedule like you would your closet. Think of your schedule like a closet. Is it packed with obligations that don't serve you, just like old clothes you never wear? It's time to declutter. Take a hard look at your commitments. Ask yourself, do I really want to do this? Does this align with what matters to me? If not, let it go. Number 2, challenge the fear of doing nothing. We're so conditioned to think that doing nothing is wasting time. But what if doing nothing is actually the key to a richer life? Try this. Next time you have a free moment, resist the urge to grab your phone. Instead, just be. Sit with your thoughts, watch the sky, breathe. Yesterday, I had my hair done and it was a long appointment. And when I had breaks from the hairdresser, I had the opportunity to be on my phone, but I didn't have the Wi-Fi password. So I sat there and looked out the large window at the birds and the plants, and I just sat there. It was very refreshing to not immediately hop on my phone while I had a few moments. Number 3, schedule rest like it's an important meeting. If it's not on your calendar, it won't happen. So schedule your downtime before your schedule fills up. Block out time for rest, vacation, creativity, or simple joys, whether it's reading, taking a walk, or just sipping tea on your patio. Number 4, learn to say no, guilt-free. Every time you say yes to something unnecessary, you're saying no to something meaningful. It's okay to say no without guilt. A simple, thanks for thinking of me, but I can't this time, is enough. No explanations needed. Instead of measuring your worth by how much you accomplish, measure it by how aligned you are with what truly matters. The most fulfilled people aren't the busiest. They're the most intentional with their moments in the day. As Greg McKeown, author of Essentialism, I highly recommend this read, says, if you don't prioritize life, someone else will. So take control, choose what matters, and let the rest go. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this thought. You don't have to fill every moment to live a full life. Slowing down isn't laziness, it's wisdom. I challenge you to pick one way to unbusy your life this week. Maybe it's saying no to something that doesn't serve you. Maybe it's allowing yourself to do nothing for a few moments without guilt. Maybe it's not multitasking, but unitasking. Maybe it's standing in line at the grocery store without checking your phone and just being in the moment with the sounds and sights around you. Whatever it is, give yourself permission to breathe. Go inward, focus on your breath. If this episode resonated with you, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Send me a message or share this with a friend who needs a reminder that they don't have to do everything to be enough. And if you haven't already, please subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. Thank you for being here, friends. I'll see you next time on The Extraordinary Everyday. Take care. Bye-bye. Hey, if you enjoy listening to this podcast, you have to come check out More You, my community of like-minded women. We show up to create the highest version of ourselves and elevate the quality of our everyday along the way. Head over to ontracklifecoaching.com/join. That's ontraclifecoaching.com/join. I'd love to see you in there. And if you haven't grabbed your copy of the Mindset Makeover, head over to ontracklifecoaching.com/makeover and get a copy that teaches and inspires you to show up as your most extraordinary self.